Casey watched him approach. He went down on one knee, just like in the movie Proposal. Tears blurred her vision. Casey felt a mix of gratitude and frustration toward her husband's efforts, but she was no longer the naive girl hoping for fairy tales. She didn't want the sandpile to merely serve as a decoration in her home. Rather, she longed for a dependable adult to handle it, not a toddler running around playing with sand everywhere. Therefore, she decided it was time to sneak away. While backing up, Casey accidentally bumped into a dog. In the hospital, filled with guilt, she kept apologizing to Mar琳, who jokingly asked what terminal illness the dog had. What? The dog doesn't have cancer, stop joking. Casey thought to herself. To her surprise, she learned that Mar Lyn's husband had passed away from cancer, and that dog was always by his side. Mar Lyn became the first person to know about Casey's illness, and Casey found a confidante. The two women gradually became like sisters. This seemingly cold neighbor actually cared more than anyone else and went out of her way to help Casey. She gave Jean her husband's favorite suit and helped Adam, like in The Secret Life of Neighbors. She understood the pain inside Casey's heart and wanted to lighten her load. One day, Casey excitedly told his son about the annual bathtub race. Adam initially refused to join, but when he learned his dad would attend, he changed his mind. What a mother-son duo. They gathered, shaking off worries and chatting merrily, as if back in carefree days. It wasn't until the sun was about to set that Casey found Mar Lyn to tell her about the surgery. She hoped Mar Lyn could pick her up after the surgery. Mar Lyn agreed but urged her to be brave and face her family. On the day of the race, Casey invited her brother and Mar Lyn, grateful for their support through her tough times. She taught Mar Lyn how to use the camera. Everyone posed, and the moment the shutter clicked, they captured a classic awkward moment. I bet they can pull off anything. Casey appreciated Mar Lyn's good intentions but quickly changed the topic. Today was meant to be a happy day. With the starting gun fired, the race began, and the audience's applause echoed through the skies, while Paul shone brightly. But at the celebration party, Paul and Casey got into another argument, and Adam watched it all, bubbling with anger. He knew his dad hadn't returned, so in anger, he left thinking, my mom, once crazy, is now a disaster. After the surgery, Casey slowly woke up, but found Mar Lyn was nowhere to be seen. She dialed her phone but got no answer, thinking maybe Mar Lyn. Little did she know, Mar Lyn was staring blankly at a flip-flop in the fridge, lost in thought. In the days that followed, Mar Lyn changed Casey's dressings every day, calling it her conscious awakening, while Casey remained cheerful. What puzzled Casey more was that this lonely neighbor had two daughters, yet she had never met them. This made her think of her father, whom she hadn't seen in a year, prompting her to decide to go home the next day. She called her husband, asking him to look after Adam, but Paul was too busy having fun to care. While Casey sighed at the chaos at home, she felt that having Sean with her made the journey much easier. She couldn't resist cracking a practical joke on her brother while teasing her own car in the process. He seemed like a hapless brother, but deep down, he was kinder than anyone else. During this trip home, she felt reluctant, wishing she could stay out a little longer. When the door opened, her father coldly welcomed her, then went back to his TV soccer game. His concern for her felt like an afterthought, leading to Casey's disappointment. She tried to find comfort among family conflicts and illness, but was met only with indifference and blame. Upon seeing the dusty old jar positioned in the corner, she couldn't help but recall her own indifference towards her mother's severe illness, filling her heart with profound helplessness and self-reproach. She thought things might change with time, however. Now he couldn't even get his daughter's age right. What on earth is the point of this? Casey said helplessly, with a hint of resignation, I love you, Dad. But you really are such a jerk, she murmured under her breath. Late at night, Casey and her brother went to the riverbank to scatter the mother's ashes into the water. She hoped her mother's spirit would flow with the water to the place she had always dreamed of, but never reached. Under the moonlight, Casey stayed silent for too long, then turned to her brother, finally revealing, I'm sick. Sean initially didn't believe it, thinking his sister was joking, but upon seeing her glistening eyes, his smile faded away. However, when Casey muttered, I'm dying, Sean's world fell into sudden silence. Followed by a deafening ringing in his ears, the weight of reality enveloped them. Everyone is destined to face this fate, you know, inevitably. Now, can you comprehend exactly what I'm referring to? I find myself in the midst of darkness. Please subscribe to our channel to gain access to even more heartwarming stories and humorous moments.